guess I read the script, right? I don't read a script. Script reads me. What the hell does that even mean?
Patience, my friend.
It's true. I wonder if I'm not supposed to see you. That's weird.
Patience. Well, JG, I see you.
That's all that matters, right?
No, maybe not. I'm not
No,
quite sure.
I
But,
don't. Yeah. Maybe your camera's backward. No, because then you wouldn't see yourself.
well, let the show go on.
Let the show go on. So this is my first time going live specifically on Facebook, but we are going with the prompt about what do you want? Job, what do
What
you want?
what do I want?
What do you
Well,
want?
I mean, I don't really want much in life, you
Okay.
know? If I was to want something, I guess it would be peace on earth, man.
Yeah.
That all wars would stop and all hunger would end.
You know what I find interesting about wants, about the term wants and the prompt, what do you want?
Yes.
So when you categorize or prioritize your day-to-day needs, do you base them by what you want or what you need?
Hmm. Well, first off, the fact that those are my only two options just isn't going to cut it.
All right, expand on it.
Well, when it comes to wants, I really have learned not to have them, right? I like to accept reality for what it is. And what do I need in this life? Nothing much. Actually, very little.
Yeah.
So the only thing I really want every day on a daily basis that might be selfish is God's love. And I meditate in it all day throughout my day. And that's a beautiful thing. Maybe
Right.
I'm selfish. But if you're talking about my day-to-day activities and the way we live in this social world and having to work in these economics, I
Uh-huh.
would say it goes my kids and then everything else. So it doesn't I don't go through my day by what I want. I just handle the day, for what it is and do the best I can to affect my community positively.
That's a good answer. I like that. I think when I think of the prompt, what do you want? Like first off, when I first created that prompt, it was more of a okay, what do you want? But the reality is, as far as the depth of the term want, I think that we all should have wants, and that we should work towards those wants if they will impact you positively, right? Um, but you're not going to achieve anything that you want if you don't just do it either.
You like goals,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, like what do I want? Like what do I want out of this? I'd like to make a little extra money on it. But, I mean, I think any of us can say that that'd be nice, right? But that's the ultimate goal is just to kind of reach people and meet people and help
Touch
people.
their heart.
Yeah, anything I can do that can, if I can have a positive impact on people and they can say, "Oh, I thank you so much for your help," and I didn't ask for anything in return, that still feels good to me. I don't feel like I have to have something in return for it to feel good.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a
Um,
point? Do you think there's a point where that's you need in an individual when you know that your use is worth something? Do you think it is fair to charge somebody for it?
well, I don't want to charge anybody for anything because of the things that I want to do. And what I want to do is help people improve themselves in any manner that they feel fit and
Right,
to figure out how to live this life um, in a manner that's beneficial.
right.
And that I don't think one should charge for. So unfortunately, in this world, that's something that somebody feels they have to do, right?
Well, this is something that you and I have, talked about since we met back at the end of December. It's crazy to think that that's when we met. Um, but collectively, we have discussed growth through social media for a financial, not for that purpose, but with that look in the background, like of this could be something that we could pursue as a career goal, right? And with that would somewhat be restrictions depending on what platforms you're using and or what sponsorships you're getting
So
or
hold on, before you get too far off of
right.
the whole getting money out of this type of stuff, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
so I'd like to backtrack just a little bit and say, like, the reason why I would want to make money out of something like this is then I don't have to ask for money from the people that I feel that I'm being a benefit to the people that I'm helping. Right? I just said how I don't want to ask people for stuff and I want to touch their
Right.
heart and I want to help them.
But let's say what's up, Harold, man? This is another a podcast buddy of mine. If you'd like to request up, you can. We're talking about what do you want? That's a topic of discussion tonight. You can always request stuff if you want. Um, so yeah, obviously the end goal of what we're doing, right? That's different than the business aspect of what we're doing, correct? Are you just saying that there's separates between the two?
I'm just saying the business part is a necessity and it's a route to go for some of these reasons. And you're about to touch on them. And the main one is the one for me that I just said.
Yes.
That's all.
Yeah. So I don't. So for me, like I see that if you're an influential enough person, I'm trying to find the proper way to do this, and you have a voice and you have somebody that picks you up and they're like, hey, we really love what you're doing, but in order for us to sponsor you, you've got these guidelines, and let's say it's not necessarily there's a difference between image and the content that you're putting out. But let's say they want you to kind of alter your content a bit, and not necessarily negatively. Would you void the contract because it goes
I
against it?
I wouldn't entertain the idea of me doing anything that I don't want to do. Right.
Right.
So if they brought a suggestion to me and said, hey, this is
Yeah.
something that I thought would be beneficial to both the organization and you and the third party, which is the viewers,
Right.
um, I would listen to it. And if I felt that it was the best move to benefit all, then I would be likely to do it. But
Yes.
I wouldn't alter my style um, to appease their deal or their ideals. Right.
Yeah. No. And that's why I say the separate between the image that you are and the image that you want to put out there based on what you're talking about and your characteristics. That shouldn't have to change. But if for some reason they wanted to say, all right, but religion kind of isn't really, would you back out of something like that?
Would I
Like,
back?
well, we don't want you talking about that.
And then you're not talking about that particular subject. You're talking about anything. Yeah,
Just
no.
hypothetically,
Yeah,
it just
like if I wanted to talk about shoes and they said, you know what, we don't like you talking about
right,
shoes, you can't do that.
yeah.
That would be it. That's my reaction. That's what I would do.
They're like, here's the deal. We're gonna give you 5,000 for a month. Okay, we want a 30-second ad on our content on your shows. And we just don't want you to talk about those shoes that you like to talk about because it's just kind of not really our thing.
Yeah, hey, you might want to go talk to somebody else who wants to do that.
Hey, if someone wants to give me $5,000 a month, I'll be shoeless and I'll even point out my toes.
Really? No, not me. I want to wear those shoes, bro. See, the thing is what I am is
Uh-huh.
what I have chosen to
Well,
become and the things
we
that I
also
work.
know that we're not going to be taught like that's not really our focus points, right?
Right. So,
Harold, do you
but
want to come up and talk to me, man? You're welcome to come up. I see you watching. Go ahead.
I think that he has a request button, and if he wants to push it, he can.
He could. He's a buddy of mine, so I'm going to keep nagging him. I nag you, so there's that.
It's
Don't
just
expect any different from my other buddies.
yeah.
Um, so the message is, to spread love, and do you, where would you say you notice the most benefit from it? Like when people give you feedback about what you talk about, what's the number one thing that you hear that you're like, you know what, that's exactly what I'm wanting to do.
Um.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it does actually.
What's up, Michael Knight? How you doing tonight?
That's always a cool thing that brings joy,
Right,
because normally what it is how it's opened them up and helped them in ways that uh, brought up their self-confidence, their courage, and brought out the best of who they are. So
right.
that right there, that's when I'm like, okay, I'll still hit that live button then, because obviously I'm on there a lot, right? I'm on TikTok
Yeah,
often, and when we have a good night, that's what I hear.
yeah,
That one person that was shy, that didn't talk, and now they're talking again, or
yeah.
that. Yeah, no.
The
Anyways, that's it.
biggest
Yep.
the biggest thing that I can say about, especially from the TikTok aspect of it, is in the content that I put out there is how unique it is. Um, and I get a lot of people, and I know that you hate people's like personal drama.
Well,
Like to talk,
no,
no,
the
let me clarify it, to talk about it on lives. Not that you hate it, but you don't want to hear about it on your lives.
well, in order to facilitate a good
Hi, Barb.
discussion,
Right,
you have to make sure that people understand that there's times where you need to stop, you need to land a point, and the life stories are normally off the the cuff there, or whatever you would call it, and they don't have endings to it, or it's not on topic. If somebody's
right.
able to intermingle a quick story of their life with the topic that we're discussing, then great. And like, I'll
Well,
sit here, I'll listen to your whole life story if that's something you really want to do, but not when we're doing those discussion groups.
no, but I think we're talking about two separate things. Whether you're the guest on the show and it's some other guest and the host just isn't shutting them up, you know, versus being the host and having a focus point of the conversation and those people coming on and ranting about their personal lives. Again, it's okay for a few seconds, especially if it's on point with the topic. But
Right.
it's not. It's definitely uh, not good for your audience that's not there to hear that. You know.
Right. And I'm doing those lives for a purpose, and so that's one of the things that I'm not a big fan of is every once in a while it turns into like a hangout spot, which I guess sometimes that's needed, right?
I think so, and I don't think so. If we want to spread our message and we want to get it out there, and we build a community of people, they all show up to our lives, and it's fun and all, and they show up, but really they're not. Are they there to benefit from you, or are they there to actually help benefit the community you're growing? You know, because at some points they just show up because they want to be heard, not because it's actually beneficial to the topic, right?
Right. So that's the thing that you have to understand. That's why they're coming up on the panel and they're talking, because they want to be heard. So that's another thing that I do is I let them talk, right? No matter how crazy it seems at first, like I let them get it all out,
Right.
because that's their chance. And then we dive into it because it's open, right? So you could talk about anything you want. You
Right.
come in, you get it out, boom. Um, and that's what we do to work on ourselves, maybe.
I think so. And I mean, there's been times where people will say like trigger words in their stories, and you'll even catch it, and you'll be like, "Well, hold on, let's talk about that." So, I mean, you've definitely like geared toward those topics before because they're good topics to discuss. But I mean, sometimes people just ramble, and they're just like, "Come on, no, there's got to be a point to it."
Right.
But
So
I
speaking of points, what is our point of this again? Why did that come up with the life
so
topics?
uh, it's the what do you want, and honestly, I think everything we've talked about so far is what do you want? The viewers that are popping in and watching us, like we know what we want from the host aspect of it, but what do the viewers want? You know, what do they, what
Right.
engages them, what intrigues them to want
That's
to,
that's a good question. That's why I ask, hey, what brings you up on a TikTok panel tonight? Like what do you like to talk about most? Right?
right?
What is it that people want to talk about?
Yeah, and what
Because
what in general like captures your attention, and not necessarily just mine, but like on social media in general, we talk about doom scrolling, right? What is it that you're swiping, you're swiping, and then something grabs your attention? Something. Is it a visual effect? Is it because somebody just starts right off the bat talking? I mean, is it their demeanor? What is it that triggers you when you're scrolling and you stop on that thing?
so I at first when I did start, that's why I started the lives is because I couldn't find what I wanted. Like I wanted uh somewhat intellectual conversation, but not with quote unquote intellects, more with um everyday discussions, like everyday people, because that's what we are. We are the common man, right?
Yeah,
And that could be said about everybody to some extent, but um that's what I couldn't find. That's why I pushed the button because I wanted to create a space that I was looking for because it wasn't there.
right. And you
So
said you said you created it because you looked for it and it wasn't there. What did you find of the
well, well,
live?
well, 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 no, that's one of the things that encouraged me. I had been thinking about it for a long time, and the the best way that I can think of with my time at home that I'm not spending working and volunteering and community things is reaching out to people watching, right? Maybe I could touch one person over there through their screen and they will stop using or something, like if I could just reach one person, that'd be great.
And you
And
see,
so,
that's so funny because like I feel like, it's not even funny because that's actually a good point. Um, the content that I put out, that's the purpose, but that's not the meaning of the content.
mhm.
Like for me, it's like that every day, the person that does their 9 to 5 or their whatevers come home, same routine every day in and out, that don't really have that little escape of comedy or just from reality in general. And even some of the feedback I'll get is that I can sit there and watch some of your clips and just I laugh and I feel so much better after a long day of work. That that's what I enjoy hearing
Yeah,
because
so you have two sides that I see as far as your social media ways, I guess I'll say. Well, like, your shorts are quick, simple, about basic things,
Mhm,
and they're funny, they're humorous.
mhm,
And that's one side. And then you have the long talks, the podcasts, the
mhm.
digging. I mean, a lot of times those are even have some humor to it. But I definitely see the two styles, which I think work well together.
I do too, and that's kind of why I have sort of separate fan bases too, based on those, which is fine. Like I do have a group that do both, but I like having my like if somebody does scroll onto my lives, I still want to have kind of that same character from my skits and my shorts there, even if it's a serious conversation. I don't want them to be like, oh well, that's not him.
I know how you do that. You just keep being yourself.
That's right.
Because they're gonna get the same character
Hmm.
everywhere you go, JG. Because
That's
you
right.
are you, my
That's
friend.
right. Same
Yeah,
with you, man.
yeah.
And there's one thing that I actually do want to kind of discuss this because I definitely think it's a strength of yours, a big strength of yours, is that you show the lack of people's ability to take um, constructive criticism. So when people pop into your lives and we're on a topic and it's something somewhat serious and they start rambling and you're like, no, shut up. We're not, you don't start out that way, but you eventually just like, no, that's not. And people will leave pissed off, they DM you and all this stuff, but it's like, that's not what you're trying to do at all. Um,
Yeah, so
but
tell
it's a
me again
strength,
how you
that is a strength from a host aspect to be able to do that.
tell me how you worded that at the beginning because I liked that better than the example. So
Oh.
the actual strength is what?
Your strength is that you have the ability to tell somebody bluntly that what they're talking about is nonsense or whatever.
No, but you said it shows their lack of
Their
ability
lack
to.
their lack of the ability to accept constructive criticism.
There we go. The
Yes.
ability
And
to accept.
a lot of people lack that.
Yeah. So, but I also am taught that. Like that's another thing, right? And all this, I learn a lot. Like
Yeah.
my approach is every time somebody comes in, I'm picking their brain. Like literally
Uh-huh.
every night, all night long, that's what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
So that's my approach. And I give it and people dish it. And it teaches me to find a way to reach them in that manner as well without overdoing it. But sometimes people, it's just straightforward and blunt and they can't handle it. And
That's
mainly is they expect something out of others, right? Like instead of just accepting us for who we are. Like you're on social media, you're between
Yep.
screens, and it doesn't really matter what this person says.
Right.
So just sit there, relax, and have that conversation.
So there are also been times though where people I don't know. So people almost group up against you, right? So I've seen, and not all the time, but there have been times, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, where people will agree with the person that you're trying to kind of hush.
Oh, that happens. So, but okay, that happens all the time.
Right.
And it's not very often that we agree on anything. And
Right.
that's actually the cool part about it, right? Because we're what I like to call reasoning. So we're going back and forth, discussing these things, and if it doesn't come to a conclusion, then hey, so be it.
Right. Uh,
Yep.
s- is that something that you caught on to pretty quick as you grew? Because you're at a point now where some days you've got quite a few people in the room, and some of them is a totally new batch. But how early on did you start to kind of realize that, hey, this is the flow I want, and this ain't happening?
And it's not happening or it is
Yeah, like if
happening.
this, like this stuff ain't. I'm not. We're not doing this on my
So
live.
So, actually, I think when I am more stern in that manner, that's when more people stick around, and I have to remember that. So, the first things first is I'm not doing it for a certain number of people being there, right?
Right.
I'm doing it just in the thought of being a benefit to my people, to
Yes,
humanity.
but the people that come on that are brand new and fresh, do you feel like it all kind of ends up back to like reset versus people who come on and know your style and know what you do? If it's a totally new panel, do you feel like you have to re-say everything all over again?
No, when it's a totally new panel, things go a lot smoother.
Okay, what's
Things
good?
go a lot smoother, and it's easier actually.
I'm actually going to share this out. I just logged in on Facebook. I'm going to share this to a bunch of groups and see if we can get some people in here.
Oh, cool. Um,
I didn't even think about that.
yeah. Well,
Okay, well, and that's another thing. Okay, you got off when we first met. You weren't really using Facebook, right? You have a decent following on here. Why why did you kind of steer away from Facebook for a while?
um, I stepped away from Facebook for a while because of the shift in what I was working on, and I shifted to videos and putting myself out there in that manner, and I found TikTok to be the spot. I learned a lot from Facebook, man, and now at the point where it became redundant, and I felt I needed to switch it up a little bit. But man, am I grateful for that platform.
Yeah, I do think that social media has been beneficial for a lot of people, and TikTok. I think stumbling on yours is what kind of wanted me to do more of the lives. Um,
So what better than to learn from your peers, right? The people
right.
around you. And to
Uh-huh.
have this tool, this thing we call a phone with this internet and these connecting and communication apps, as we call them, I mean, you have everything at your fingertips, man. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people that don't use phones, but at the same time, I have learned from people all over the world, bro. And
Right.
I continue to do so.
Is there things on here that you've done that you didn't know you'd ever be able to do? Like, these podcasts and these short little clips and these things that we've done together. Are these things that you ever planned on doing to begin with?
Um, no. So I did like posts and stuff a while back, like on Facebook and whatnot, and I went through some phases, but the only reason I do it really is I think that that's the best way to help. Like that's the way I can reach out to as many people or be, learning from or helping as many people at once as I can.
Right. And
So,
then there are times where the one thing I don't really care for as much as the restrictions. I feel like some of them are a little bit too tight, in my opinion. Obviously, it's not our choice, anyways. We have to deal with it.
restrictions.
Yeah, like not saying certain words, or you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings because you said something. So now it's a restriction. So if you say it, you get blocked or
You
you
know,
can't go.
unfortunately, the restrictions I kind of I don't mind, right? I wouldn't say that I like them because really I'd like everybody to be able to communicate in a way that's appropriate for everybody.
Hmm.
So that's, it's silly that we have to have such a thing, but I don't mind it at all because I don't normally have that problem.
Right.
Unless it's an accident by AI, right? Because like I tell you, man, I want to do content that my kids could watch, and I'm setting a good example.
So like for me, and yes, you said kids. I mean, I know sometimes I'm a little explicit, but everything I do is to be unbiased. I don't want to, if I offend
Yeah.
somebody because they took it the wrong way, that's fine because I can argue that it didn't mean that. Um, I think that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, yes, my content is not meant to be like catered towards a specific crowd of people. If my 14-year-old pops on and sees everything I have, it's fine. I know I don't have to worry about him seeing any of my content. Um, but our kids, it's social media is everywhere, so they're gonna see you probably,
Well,
right?
everything we do makes has a for every reaction, right? There's or every action there's a reaction. So everything we do ripples into eternity. And if we keep that in mind in all that we do and we try to, just do the best we can, we're gonna create that effect that we want to see last, right? We're
Right.
not going to want to try to go over there and, redo it all because, anyways, I try to keep that in mind when I'm doing
I
things like
also feel
this.
like there's a lot of people that are our age and older that are like scared of how to utilize social media. Even a lot of like old actors and actresses that are just not familiar with it. And I think that if I can help kind of guide people in how to utilize it to their benefit, I also really enjoy being able to do that for people.
Yeah, so who are we to think we're these cool guys that could do so much help when maybe they don't need help?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes some people don't even know where to hit the go live button. So it could be something as simple as that.
Mhm.
But I did notice, especially on TikTok, and a lot, especially our community on TikTok, um, a lot of them that don't have their own lives. Actually, I feel like more recently they've all kind of started building their own, but they didn't know where to start. Right? I mean, I've heard it from several people. Well, I want to do something, but they're like they have no idea what
So
they want to talk about or who's.
what could one benefit from doing such a thing?
What do you mean?
What could they benefit from, like, from it?
It depends on their purpose for doing it, right? I mean, it's
Mm,
if they're just going live to see if people will watch them, I think that's stupid. There's no benefit to that.
gotcha.
But if it's a message that you're trying to get out there, or if you're trying to accomplish a goal from it, then
So
yeah. But
what about fame?
fame is easy today. Nowadays, fame is easy.
Hold on. If fame is easy, why aren't you famous?
Because I'm not dumb enough to figure it out.
Hmm, interesting.
I mean, think about the content, man. Think about what's out there and what's going famous and the people who blew up for doing this and that. A good chunk of the public, like just skyrocketing views, is the stupidity of some of the content. Those are the ones that blow up the quickest. I'm not saying that the educational stuff doesn't, but if you do
Yeah,
want, if
but
you, it,
I don't even think that you really believe that famous is easy. First of all, I could care less about being famous. Like, honestly, I wish I could do accomplish all the things that need to be done without feeling I need to reach out to a mass amount of people, but I don't think that's sufficient at this time. So,
well,
I want to work on um, touching the multitudes, I guess I would say, reaching them.
that's fair.
So now, if famous is easy, wouldn't you want to be famous? Wouldn't you like to?
I guess so. Some of the biggest social media influencers and content creators that are out there, even the ones that post stupid things, they have a drive to succeed. But even if it's the dumbest content, they're putting out 8 to 10 videos a day. They're live 10 hours a day. Like they're investing. So there is a lot of like commitment to it, but it doesn't necessarily need to be beneficial to the viewer to get to that level of fame.
Okay,
Does that
but
does that
yeah,
sound?
I hear what you're saying, but you said it's easy, right? I'm still stuck on that.
Yeah,
I'm still
yeah, I mean you're calling me out, and I'm agreeing that it's not necessarily easy, but it doesn't have to necessarily be anything in particular to get it if you're committed to doing it. So yes, you have to put in the effort and the work, but you don't necessarily have to do a certain niche or a certain content to get the views because the system is going to do it anyways. If you're pushing out 8 to 10 videos a day, you go live 4 hours a day. That the system, the social media platforms just push your content because you're consistently using their platform. There's a
okay.
and that's That's the truth. I mean, if you were to if we went on if we both did a 30-day challenge, I'm not going to do it because I can't commit to it. Um, and we were like, okay, we're going to go live 4 hours a day, and we're going to post 6 videos a day for 30 days. I promise you, you will have an exponential growth if you did that for the full month straight. No
Yeah.
matter what.
So I get it. And that so the fortune and fame isn't worth it to you? You wouldn't do that?
Uh, not at the place that I'm at now.
And why is that? Because you could totally afford anything you want and you could live the life
No,
to be.
but I will never get back my kids' youth, and
So,
I want to be
but
a part of that, and I
there
don't
are
want to be
plenty
stressed.
there are plenty rich and famous people that have youth that they don't miss their lives.
Yeah, but they're not social media influencers that are live all the time either.
Hmm.
I
It's
mean,
got to be.
if you're at our level trying to get there, I mean, those are you're gonna have to be on this all the time, and I'm not gonna take that away from my kids.
Interesting.
I'd much rather go play basketball or go for a walk or go to the lake or
Well,
something.
if you brought your camera,
Is
you
that
could.
I? My personal life doesn't belong on here. I'm not a
Okay.
blogger.
Anyways, okay. What's next?
What's next?
What's next?
What do you want?
Yeah. What do
Um.
you want? So let's hold on. Let's regroup for a second here. Let me ask you a question, JG. Okay.
Uh huh.
Right now.
Yes.
And I want the first thing that comes to your mind when I ask this question.
Okay.
Okay. What is it that you want?
To be happy.
What if happiness was an illusion?
It's not. I can prove that it's not.
No, you look happy right now, JG.
Yeah, I'm happy. I even got a
You
headache, but I'm happy.
you sound a little hesitant when you say that.
It's because I have a headache.
Okay. So what would it take? What would it take for you to be happy?
Just to exist and not to struggle. I'm not struggling.
You're
I
not
mean,
struggling.
not I'm not struggling in a way that it impacts me
So
in
tell
a
me this.
sense that I need to worry about it. Let's put it that way. And I'm fine with that.
I feel like I
I'm
feel
trying to
like
word
you.
this. I'm just trying to word this the most appropriate way that I
No,
can.
no. I feel like you've totally like talked yourself into this comfortable place, and you don't even believe that you're not like you don't believe you're struggling. Seriously,
No, my bills are paid.
that doesn't mean you're not struggling. Are you struggling to keep the bills paid?
No,
Can you leave right now? Can you go to the airport today and
no,
fly to Hawaii
no.
for
I,
one
well,
week?
why do I don't need that either.
Right, I'm not saying you need it,
Uh-huh.
but if
So
you can't do something that simple in this day and age, you're struggling. And
I don't agree
too
with it.
too many
I do not
people.
agree with that. I don't agree
Yeah,
with
no, no,
that one
no.
bit.
So you, yeah, okay, all right. So when you
So
go to the store,
okay.
when you go to the store, JG, can you just fill up the cart with anything you want, or do you got a penny pinch? Do you got to like look at one thing and look at another and be like, darn, which one am I not getting today?
Yeah, I do that.
Okay, okay,
But why is
that's
that but why is that a struggle?
dude.
Does
As
that have to be
human
a struggle?
beings, as human beings
No.
on this planet, in this day and age, you don't think we should all be able to at least just have the meal that we want today? Like, I really want those organic strawberries. You know what I mean?
No,
And
no. Okay, so we're diving into something that I like here. There's two people watching. Hey guys, thanks. Jump in the comments. Request up.
and
Um,
it's and then you got to go to work every day. And then so let's say you're driving to work, right?
right.
And your tire blows. and your hood flips up and it hits your windshield, then you causes about 3,000 worth of damage, and you're stuck
Yeah.
on the side of the road. Would you be able to go pay for that?
No,
Yeah. So you're struggling, dog.
I'm not struggling. No, you figure it out, man. You figure it out.
Yeah.
That's not the end of the world.
Okay.
If I crashed my car and I died, that would suck. If I lost a limb,
That's
that
so
would
off
suck.
topic.
No, it's
That's
not
so, yeah,
because
it is. Yeah, it
okay,
is.
if
Because
you no, okay, you're saying if I blew with the tire out and the hood blew up and just crashed my
I'm
windshield and
talking
screeched out.
about the struggle, and we're talking about rich and famous.
You're talking about financial.
We're
You're talking
talking
about
about
financial
you
stress. You're
and your
talking about financial stress.
and your
And
excuses, JG. We're talking about right now. You have
what's the
found this
so okay?
comfortable
So
spot
what's
that says, "Oh, I'm not going to be rich and famous because I've got other things to do that take precedence over
I
it."
said that spending time with my kids when they're young is important to me because I didn't have that. And that is more important than this screen, yes.
Hmm. Got it.
This ain't going anywhere. I mean, social media is not going anywhere. Not until the internet shuts down or whatever. Um, I like talking to people on here because I don't go out. Like this is my
Right.
hanging out. So and
So,
I actually am pretty antisocial. I talk to people at work and stuff, but if I'm out in public, chances are I probably don't want to be approached. I just like to, do my thing.
yeah, that I get.
you,
That
you know,
that I get.
and it's getting worse the older I get. So when I come on here, I feel like I'm more myself than I am when I'm in public because either society has just gotten to a point where I don't feel like the conversations that most people that will approach me will be what I want to discuss. I get annoyed very easy with people now. And on here, I can just shut the screen off or block you.
Yeah, I'm about to shut the screen off. You keep on telling me all these boring things about you.
Yeah, what I've seen you block people though. What's your trigger, man? What
Uh,
remove?
well, I don't block people generally.
I was gonna say
Uh,
Jim, maybe not everybody.
it's a very rare occasion. Actually, I try to keep the communication lines open for really anybody because people have reached out and I have tried. So whether I help them or not, I don't know. But it was cool that they felt that they could reach out and open up.
Okay.
So that I definitely try to not block people, but you know, there are to some extent I don't want to be bothered. So
Yeah.
comes that time.
Yeah. Well,
So
go ahead.
so when you are on a podcast,
Yep.
what is it that you want out of it? Like, what are you trying to
Um,
accomplish?
my goal is to give voice to the people that come on my shows, right? And that is, hey, do I if it's my responsibility to keep the guests engaged, so I need to somewhat know who I'm having on. So if I invite you on my podcast, I have to know enough about you to at least carry a conversation, right? That's my
Right,
responsibility as a host. It's also my responsibility that if you're not very good at socializing, to catch that quite quickly because the viewers don't want to see that. So does that take an hour long show and turn it into 20 minutes? Sometimes. But you kind of have to carry the guest in a podcast. On a live, I don't feel like it's as necessary as a podcast, but on a podcast, it's definitely more imperative that you kind of give that little nudge to the guest if they don't have the natural instinct of like you and me when we talk,
right.
especially
Yeah.
if I reach out to them and told them to give me an hour of their time and they were willing to do that, it's definitely my responsibility to at least give them that.
So I think for the most part that what we've done here tonight is a good little episode for a podcast.
I actually agree.
I think it's interesting enough to where I may actually listen to something of the sort. And I can't say that very often about the things that I am a part of on the lives, even mine.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how this works on Spotify.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can download it from Facebook when we're done, and then strip the audio and I'll release it. I think this would be a good gift shop at the bottom episode.
Yeah, why
Like
why
what?
why don't we go ahead and draw this here to a conclusion
I agree.
and get on that audio with Spotify, buddy.
Let's do it. Hey, if you guys tuned in tonight, I did see it wasn't a lot, a couple people popped in and out. But thank you guys for hanging out with us. Justin, thank you for hanging out.
Oh
And
yeah, hey, by the way, how you doing? What, Dylan?
I'm good, man. I'm
My name
good.
is Justin.
Yes, your name is Justin.
It,
I'm Dylan.
it was really odd calling you Dylan. It's
It was
like I think
was it
I've
odd for me calling you Justin?
yeah. So I think it's like I think that's the third time I've ever said your name out loud.
It's
Um,
different. Well, and see, that's okay. I know you want to wrap it up, but do you think your name is your identity on here? Like, not your Justin name, your John name.
so the way I see my identity is I just am what I am, and then whatever people call me or think
But
of me, then
but you
that's it.
said it was weird hearing somebody me call you Justin. So
Yeah,
Jaw has became an alias for you.
an alias. I mean, I guess so, because that is what people refer to me as.
Uh-huh.
Um,
That's just like Jukebox Ginger, same thing.
yeah.
It was totally meant to just be a shits and giggles name, and it just kind of became me.
So at the beginning of the live too, I meant to introduce myself as, "Hey, what's up? I'm Justin."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you come in and be like, "Oh, it's a pleasure meeting you, sir." Anyways,
I,
yeah.
I
Hey,
am actually, I wouldn't mind doing a few more of these on here and actually promoting them as events.
yeah, I'm down. I'm interested. I'm ready. Let's go ahead and cut this clip up,
All
get
right.
the TikTok up tonight, and
See you
keep
guys
moving.
later.
Thanks
Yep.
for hanging.
Yep.
Check
I'm
us
going to give
out.
you a call when we're done here.